The time has come. Our first taste of the MCU in like a year and a half, right? Since Spider-Man came out. And remember, this is the beginning of Phase 4. Now, originally, Black Widow was supposed to begin Phase 4. Well, technically, some say Spider-Man did, but it's supposed to be Black Widow. But that's been postponed, but it's not really relevant to this story. Wandavision is the official kickoff of not only Phase 4, but also the storyline that's going on with the multiverse and the problem going on there. And man, let me tell you, everything begins here. So, WandaVision episodes 1 and 2 are now on Disney+. They chose to drop both episodes in 1 week because, you know, they wanted to give it a special. And after seeing both episodes, I can kind of understand why. First thing I have to say is that I can already see people complaining about this. The show, the majority of the show's in black and white, on purpose, by the way. It was all done on purpose. And I can already see kids saying, oh, it's in black and white. Oh, I don't understand what's going on. Oh, I can already see the kids complaining about this. So, it's going to be unfortunate to see that. But, man, this was really, really good stuff. And it was really... Here's the thing. It's supposed to be like this. This is supposed to be just like this. Because clearly there's something going on. Because the first episode thrusts you into a 50s sitcom. Second episode does too. And we're talking about like, this is a very well done 50s, 60s sitcom parody. I don't know if y'all know about shows like I Love Lucy, I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched. You know, all these shows that used to air on Nick at Night many years ago that took place many years that came out, many years before many of us were born. Well, I would say almost all of us. These shows were really popular. But I watched a few of these shows, not that many, a few of these shows when I was younger. So I'm familiar with a lot of the parody, like, you know, the All-American Family, the kitchen, having to fix the kitchen and all that, you know, having to, you know, the boss is coming over for dinner. All these things are very, very much stereotypes of all these shows. In fact, I would say almost all these shows did this storyline at some point or another. The Flintstones was totally a parody, or not a parody, but totally inspired by the Honeymooners. You know, all these old 50s shows were just really, really like this. Very cheesy and corny, but that's what people wanted back then. The world now is very different. And these shows just pretty much, like, the show just starts. WandaVision just starts with them in this, like, strange universe, right? Now, obviously, we got multiversal hijinks going on, and it seems to be like this world is just pretty much a simulation, and we get several clues to that as the show progresses, really mostly in episode 2. Episode 1 ends with pretty much like the TV that we're watching, it pans out of the TV, and somebody turns it off. Now, the clue of who that is, we don't know. It could be Wanda, it could be somebody else. The whole point of this show is that every episode will give you clues of what's happening, and you're not going to understand really what's going on until either the end of the season or possibly even another Marvel show or movie. We might not get the answers to all of this until the Doctor Strange film comes out. It could just be a thing where right now for Phase 4, Kevin Feige is building up a lot of mystery box stuff like what J.J. Abrams would do, even though I think he's going to pay it off better. And it's kind of slowly giving us and feeding us clues. Now, the biggest clues that we got is that Wanda still does have her powers and Vision is still a cyborg, and they use that very clever to tell these sitcom stories. I loved it. I thought Paul Bettany, who plays Vision, was a real treat in this. He was fantastic. Elizabeth Olsen looked incredibly hot, especially in episode 2 as the assistant of the magician. She looked freaking stunning, and you know, she's got her power still, and Vision's still a cyborg, but it takes place in this 50s world, and everybody's dressed up the way they would back then. And it's interesting, though, because the first 2 episodes are like in 2 different houses almost, right? Things are slightly different. There's little clues, little background clues that something is not right. I believe what's going on here is that there is a simulation going on, possibly even being created by Wanda herself. And the big sort of revelation, the big clue that we have is that there are 2 moments in episode 2 of WandaVision where we see the logo for S.W.O.R.D. Now, for those who don't know, S.W.O.R.D is the... We're going to get into it here. This is not a spoiler, but this is something that you should know if you don't know. But S.W.O.R.D is basically an intelligence agency like S.H.I.E.L.D. You have S.H.I.E.L.D., you have S.W.O.R.D. except that while S.H.I.E.L.D. takes care of things on Earth, S.W.O.R.D handles the intergalactic threats and interdimensional threats, right? That's what S.W.O.R.D does. Now, at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, we kind of see a little preview of something could be involving S.W.O.R.D because of the fact that Nick Fury's like in space or whatever. So it could be possible that Nick Fury is involved in this. In fact, he probably is. Now, with that being said, you know, obviously we've gotten clues of the secret invasion. There's all kinds of clues of things that's going to happen down the road for Phase 4 of Marvel. But the fact that S.W.O.R.D is involved in this, you know, we see a helicopter and it's in color. It's actually, everything else is black and white, but the helicopter's in color, and Wanda grabs it, very much like Pleasantville. Have you ever seen that movie Pleasantville with Tobey Maguire? What a coincidence. You'll remember that. And so she sees the helicopter or whatever, and it's in color, and there's a S.W.O.R.D logo on it, and then later on at the end of the episode, something weird happens where, like, this guy in a bee suit comes out of the ground, like he literally comes out of the sewer, right? He's in the sewer system. He comes out of the sewer system, and on the back, he's got a S.W.O.R.D logo, and I had to pause it to really see what the hell that was. I had to really look and see what that was, but I'm wondering if what's going on with this show is that Wanda is having these visions, no pun intended, these you know, this sort of simulation that she's creating this in her own head. Because you can hear a voice which sounds a lot like Mark Ruffalo. It sounds a lot like Banner, like the Hulk saying, Wanda, Wanda, don't let him do this to you, Wanda. So it sounds like somebody is mind controlling Wanda or something, and it could be S.W.O.R.D doing it, or maybe S.W.O.R.D is trying to get her out. Maybe S.W.O.R.D is trying to help. Now, if you don't know about S.W.O.R.D, and I don't know much about S.W.O.R.D because I don't know what they've done with them recently, the leader of S.W.O.R.D was Abigail Brand. And I'm wondering if her neighbor in this episode, who keeps popping up over and over again, I wonder if that's supposed to be Abigail Brand. I'm not sure. But I wonder where this is going to go. I mean, again, it's interesting. Very, very interesting that we're getting little clues here. And I think this show is not going to go super fast. It'll be different than Mandalorian. It's going to slowly kind of build up teases and clues and hints before we get the big reveal. So I think we'll know something by the end of the season, but I think they're going to keep that a big secret because it's going to tie into the Loki show, which will also tie into, obviously, the trilogy of movies coming up, you know, which will be not Black Widow. I'm talking about the Thor movie, the Spider-Man movie, and Doctor Strange. Those are all going to be one big storyline with the multiverse and something going on with the multiverse involving S.W.O.R.D. So we'll see. Obviously, Doctor Strange will be the big hero for all of this because he has knowledge of the multiverse that S.W.O.R.D nor S.H.I.E.L.D have. You know, or at least presumably speaking, they may have the knowledge, but, you know, Doctor Strange is the guy who handles that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really, really fun. I miss these old sitcoms. I wasn't a huge follower of them, but I haven't watched some of these shows in ages since I was a little kid, and they were on Nick at Night. But it was cool to, like, see them again kind of being played out by superheroes. Paul Bettany is hilarious. The show is pretty damn funny. These actors have a lot of charisma, and they have a lot of chemistry together, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And I know that some young people are not going to understand what's going on here because it's in black and white, and, you know, we want our color, but it's supposed to be that way. You got to be patient so you can see where the storyline's going to go. So right now, I'm not going to say it sucks at all because I had a good time because I know what they're going for. So, and I'm actually excited to see what other sitcoms they make fun of going forward, you know, in upcoming episodes or other TV shows until we finally get the big reveal, maybe at the end of the season or maybe beyond that. Thanks again. Have a great day, and let me know what you think about WandaVision down below.